My perfect boyfriend's brother changed him into a toxic alpha male. Me and my boyfriend have been dating for 4 years. We started dating in 7th grade and now we are both in our junior year of high school, and we are still madly in love. Ever since I knew him, he has always been the same funny, kind and morally obligated person. He would always do volunteer work, and was the president of our class every single year since the start of high school. We have plans to go to the same college together and we've already talked about marriage, and how many kids we want. He always scored the top of our class in grades. When he's not studying he's at church, and one of the most upstanding qualities he has is that he is waiting till marriage. Because of that, we usually have sleepovers at his place and I always feel very comfortable and safe with him. One thing to note is that my boyfriend doesn't have a father. He would usually look up to other people to get his influence and to build his character. Recently, his scumbag older brother just got out of juvie. Now, he is asking my boyfriend if he can stay with him. He told me about the situation and I was highly against it because I knew that his older brother was not a good influence. He was especially vulnerable to influence from older guys, due to his lack of a father figure. But my boyfriend was too kind and decided he wanted to help his brother. However, neither of us knew that this would be one of the biggest mistakes of our life. The changes happened very slowly. I barely noticed them until one day in class he made a really peculiar joke about women. Usually he makes the whole class laugh, but this time only his buddies from the sports teams laughed. He said in a really condescending tone, "Women," and he chuckled a bit. I wasn't sure whether or not to confront him about this, but in the end I decided to just let it slide. But that's when the second incident happened. I caught him through one of his house windows smoking and drinking alcohol with his older brother when I wanted to surprise him at his house. This was getting scary. I knew my boyfriend would originally never do things like that, and yet as clear as day he was smoking and drinking. I went and knocked on the door and asked my boyfriend, who was very clearly intoxicated, if he wanted to go on a walk like we usually do. His brother responded for him and said walks are for PCs. My boyfriend said with a slurred speech, yeah, walks are faux putties. I never heard him use any profanity ever before, so I tried grabbing his hand to talk to him outside, but he slapped my hand off and said, "Don't touch me, beach." His brother just started laughing, while I on the other hand ran out crying. I didn't know who this was. I started avoiding him for 2 days, despite the fact that he was blowing up my phone with apologies, and even at school he tried desperately to talk to me. Finally, I gave in and decided to listen to his part of the story. He was saying how it was all his brother's fault and that he deserved a second chance. I agreed, and over the next week his act started to pick up. I started to wonder whether his brother was finally gone, or arrested again. He wanted to make it up to me by having one of our traditional sleepovers together. I wasn't opposed as we would do this very regularly, but something about this time felt different. I saw that his brother's car wasn't in the garage, which was a good sign. Towards late at night when we were both lying in bed just chatting, he said he had to go to the bathroom. And I knew it was wrong, but I decided to go through his phone. I clicked on the chat between him and his brother, and I was horrified at what I saw. His brother's most recent message was, "Have you effed her yet?" To which he replied, "Not yet, but when she falls asleep it's game over." I heard his footsteps and just threw his phone down. I laid there completely frozen, looking at his fake smile. That's when I decided I had enough. I confronted him about everything that's happened, and he told me that he was just trying out new things and living his life. He then confessed to me that he didn't want to wait till marriage anymore and that he and were going to do it now. I obviously refused, but then he pulled down his pants and said, "You know you want this." That's when I kicked him in the nuts and ran off. He didn't even bother chasing after me. The following days at school were awful. My ex kept on saying those sexist jokes in class, and it was really awkward because a lot of the people, especially the girls that used to like him, just resented him. I decided to get my revenge. This all started with his delinquent brother, so I knew he had to go. I created a plan and it worked out. His older brother was busted for his underage alcohol usage, and they found some coke as well, bonus. So now my ex was all alone and he had no one, not me nor his pathetic brother. Bonus 2, I started dating a really nice guy. Although I don't like him as much as I did my ex, it's certainly a step up. He saw me with my new boyfriend and I instantly saw the jealousy in his eyes. I certainly wasn't expecting to see him on his knees sobbing for my forgiveness. But what happened next was crazy.